Shanghai is ready for another highlight moment. The coastal city will host companies from around 150 countries and regions next week. Over 3,000 enterprises will bring their most confident products, ranging from primary industries like food and fabrics to the most cutting-edge fields like AI and VR. And just like last year, the Hongqiao International Economic and Trade Forum will be running at the same time. Economists, experts, and business leaders will discuss global development issues at separate seminars. Vice Minister of Commerce Wang Bingnan briefed the media on Tuesday on China's agenda.
President Xi Jinping attending the event and giving keynote speech for 2 consecutive years demonstrates that the Chinese government places great value on the Expo. This shows China's support for trade multilateralism and its consistent stance on free and convenient trade. The president's attendance also shows China's concrete action in pushing forward an open economy and building a shared future for mankind.
The minister also mentions a growing number of American companies to the Expo. Last year there were 174, and this year 192. And the area for American exhibitors is the largest on the park.
There are several significant points in Carrie Lam's press conference. First of all, Hong Kong's chief executive warned that it's very likely for Hong Kong's economy to enter a technical recession in 2019, and it would be extremely difficult to achieve an annual growth target of between 0 and 1% this year. Hong Kong's yearly GDP figure could also end in negative growth this year. And the Hong Kong SAR government has poured 20 billion Hong Kong dollars to stimulate the economy.
Based on the current evaluation, all sectors are likely to have a negative growth in the entire 2019.
And she also called for the opposition parties to put aside political differences and work together to revive the economy. In response to some rumors saying that the central government in Beijing might move Carrie Lam out of her position, Carrie Lam strongly dismissed Financial Times reports. She said the central government has always supported her administration since the very beginning of the protest, and that support has stayed firm and active as it was 4 months ago. When talking about the unrest, she said the most critical mission now is to tackle the violence head-on.
The most effective solution is to tackle the violence head-on. For the government to resort to measures that will appease the violent rioters, I don't think that is a solution. And I feel that many of Hong Kong people, yes, they may have some unhappiness and grievances about the government policies, about the government handling of this major crisis. But the time now is really to put in all our efforts to say no to violence in order to have a chance to put an end to this extreme violence that we have seen.
Doing business in China is set to get even easier for foreigners. The nation is promoting foreign investment and protecting the lawful interest of foreign businesses. Earlier this year, the foreign investment law was approved by the nation's top legislature. It will be officially put into effect January 1st. The law legalizes pre-entrance national treatment for foreign investments, prompting enterprises under different ownership to complete on a level playing field. It also features a negative list stating the do's and don'ts of foreign businesses.
We will continue to reduce the negative list of foreign investment across the country and in the pilot free trade zone, reduce the cost of cross-border capital use, optimize the innovation service of foreign-funded enterprises, and fully implement the foreign investment law.
China has become a more popular destination for foreign investment over the years, as many world-renowned names have set up long-term projects in China. Foreign enterprises cast their votes of trust here amid the shady international economic climate.
We have many examples. Tesla's superfactory in Shanghai has entered the trial production stage. There are also Cummins engines projects from the US in Hefei, a BASF project from Germany in Zhanjiang, and a Swiss Ineos chemical project in Ningbo. This fully reflects the confidence of foreign investors in China's long-term investment.
From the local to the national level, China continues renewing and enforcing business regulations. In the face of future uncertainty, China is still willing to further open its market and embrace opportunities regardless of nationalities and regions. And the nation is committed to providing an environment that lets all kinds of enterprises flourish.
44 Nobel Prize laureates and other world-class award winners are set to participate in the second World Laureates Forum in Shanghai this week. The event will be held in the city's Lingan area, a newly added part of the Shanghai Pilot Free Trade Zone.
We will push forward the opening up of Shanghai to higher levels in wider areas and enhance international scientific innovation and cooperation.
Also opening up the World Laureates Association Shanghai Center. It's where experts plan to build a science community to boost basic science research and the transformation of ideas into innovations.
So you start with gatherings of scientists, but then you want to draw people there so that they actually live here, work here, and that's how you get innovation centers.
This year, the forum will pay special attention to supporting young global scientists and their new findings and ideas on the shared future for mankind. It will select 100 young scientists worldwide and build a world-level science and technology communication platform, encouraging more young people to pursue science.
And they tend to be the people that make the discoveries because they try an area where they can't know what's going to happen and they run into something.
To have so many high-level young scientists from various fields together and exchanging ideas will stimulate our research greatly.
The event will last 4 days. It will feature 3 special sub-forums and 8 summits under the theme of technology for the common destiny of mankind.
British voters are going back to the polls for yet another Brexit-forced general election on December the 12th. The hope that it'll break Britain's Brexit logjam either way. But will it? UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson's hopes of getting Britain out of the European Union by Halloween, quote, do or die, are now as dead as a dodo. This is, of course, all high-risk stuff. And there are dangers for the UK Prime Minister, who promised Britain would be out of the EU by the end of October. Well, it's not going to be, and he's heading into a general election at the coldest, darkest time of year. It's quite possible voters could punish him for his careless words. Something could be sorted out if a clear majority comes from the election, either for or against Brexit. Trouble is that not just Parliament has been made unworkable by Brexit. The voting patterns in Britain have been completely fractured as well. People's loyalty is no longer along party lines, but rather attitudes to Brexit. No one knows where those votes will fall.
Mineral de Pozos. At the turn of the 20th century, this town was one of the jewels of Mexico's mining industry. But today, the mines are defunct, and the haciendas of the silver barons reduced to rubble.
While today it might be a ghost town, during its heyday, this town had the most modern amenities and technology of its day and reached a population of 50,000 people.
All but abandoned for 80 years, today the town is thriving with a new source of economic stimulation.
While Mineral de Pozos was abandoned in the wake of Mexico's 1910 revolution, much of its striking architecture remained standing, and decades later, this stunning masonry represented an opportunity for developers focusing on the country's burgeoning tourism industry.
It has done so partly thanks to its designation as a Pueblo Mágico, or magic village, a Mexican government distinction for towns with special tourist appeal that also unlocks government funding for special projects. Diana Ruiz is a Pozos native and played among these ruined haciendas as a young girl. Today she works as a manager in a newly constructed boutique hotel.
The town's infrastructure has improved a lot. We have more basic services given that there are greater employment opportunities. And now the local community, we've invested our own money in the town, betting on the town to make it stand out even more.
And to keep the tourists coming, local officials plan to invest in sustainable initiatives to set an example for the rest of the country.
We have a lot of future sustainability projects. Tourists are becoming very interested when it comes to sustainability. There's a focus on organic, where everything you eat comes from the farm to the table, electricity from solar power, water coming from rain catchment systems, so it's becoming easier for us to accept this development and change.
Mineral de Pozos rose and fell through the boom and bust of Mexico's silver mining industry. Today, it's on the rise again, as a new generation puts its money in tourism, convinced it's a safer bet.